Imagine we reveal to you an innovative idea that capitalizes on the minor yet powerful shifts in our everyday surroundings. This idea is silently revolutionizing the fabric of urban environments. Welcome to the world of tactical urbanism. This revolutionary concept is unlocking potential ways to mold the future of our cities. In this video, we're diving into the core principles, visible effects, and profound impact of tactical urbanism. This method stands out by taking on the significant task of crafting the urban spaces that will be passed down to future generations. Tactical urbanism refers to a city, organizational, or citizen-led approach to neighborhood building, using short-term, low-cost, and scalable interventions and policies. It's a way to improve local environments and build community through direct action. The interventions are usually intended to be temporary, serving as a living laboratory for public feedback that informs long-term strategies. Examples of tactical urbanism might include pop-up bike lanes, community gardens, outdoor seating and parking spaces, also known as parklets or pedestrian plazas that are created by closing off streets to vehicles and traffic. These projects are often done in a way that can be easily altered or removed based on the community's response. This approach allows city planners and residents to test out ideas before making substantial investments and permanent changes. It empowers people to contribute to the urban design process, promoting a sense of shared ownership and stewardship over the public realm. One of the most famous examples of a tactical urban project was in New York City. Times Square, located in the heart of Midtown Manhattan in New York City, is one of the most iconic public spaces in the world. Its history dates back to the early settlement days of Manhattan, when the area was part of a tract of land that belonged to John Maureen Scott, a general under George Washington. Over time, the land became a valuable asset of John Jacob Astor, and by 1872, it had become the center of New York's carriage industry, known as Longacre Square, after a similar district in London. The transformation of Longacre Square into Times Square began with the move of the New York Times newspaper to the area. In 1904, the paper's owner, Adolph S. Ox, relocated its operations to a new skyscraper, the Times Tower on 42nd Street, which was the second tallest building in the city at that time. In honor of the newspaper mayor George B. McClellan Jr., renamed the area Times Square in 1904. The New York Times moved out of the Times Tower by 1913, but the name stuck. The area around Times Square was developed into a major cultural and entertainment hub, especially with the rise of the theater district. By World War I, most legitimate theaters had moved to the area from downtown, bolstered by popular bars, restaurants, and high-end hotels. The development of extensive public transportation systems, including subway and bus routes, helped Times Square grow into a bustling center of activity, further solidifying its status as a central hub in the city. However, the Great Depression brought significant challenges to Times Square, with many theaters turning to less reputable forms of entertainment. The area became known for its grinder houses showing sexually explicit films, and soon after, other forms of lower entertainment and vice proliferated. Despite these challenges, Times Square continued to evolve and adapt. In the 20th century, it became known for its bright digital billboards and as a center for the entertainment industry. The famous New Year's Eve ball drop tradition began in 1907 and continues to draw millions of visitors every year. Today, Times Square is a symbol of New York City's resilience and capacity for reinvention, attracting an estimated 50 million visitors annually and being one of the world's busiest pedestrian areas thanks to its tactical urbanism project and ultimate transformation. The Tactical Urbanism project of New York's Times Square aimed to transform the bustling traffic hub into a pedestrian-friendly space that catered more to the needs of New Yorkers and less to vehicular demands. The project started as a short-term experiment in 2009 under the Green Light for Midtown Street Improvement Initiative. The initial intervention was simple. Temporary pedestrian areas were created, and inexpensive lawn chairs were set out for people to use. The intended outcomes were to create a cohesive and continuous surface that would reinforce Times Square's iconic status as an outdoor stage for entertainment, culture, and urban life, to make New Yorkers feel more included in a space they felt had been dominated by tourists. These aims were guided by the principle of improving the quality and atmosphere of Times Square for a diverse array of users, including tourists, locals, pedestrians, and bicyclists, while also easing the traffic flow. The project was led by the Norwegian design firm Snow Hetta, with a budget of $55 million, covering the area along Broadway and 7th Avenue between 42nd and 47th Streets. The intervention was quite successful, leading to increases in foot traffic and local store revenues and a decrease in traffic-related injuries. The temporary setup was eventually replaced with permanent features such as single-level pedestrian surfaces, new benches, and paving surfaces that included infrastructure upgrades like sewers and water mains, along with design elements such as new granite pavers and integrated electrical features. The Times Square project is a prime example of tactical urbanism evolving into a long-term urban improvement. It demonstrated how small-scale, low-cost interventions could be used to trial and then implement significant changes that positively affect urban spaces and their users. The success of the temporary intervention in Times Square paved the way for a more permanent transformation, which has been embraced by both citizens and businesses, resulting in a dynamic and welcoming public space that meets the needs of the 21st century city. The project's success in Times Square has been inspirational, showing how tactical urbanism can serve as a collaborative, progressive, and cost-effective approach to urban development. It's a testament to the power of community engagement and the effectiveness of iterative, responsive urban planning. Times Square's transformation was completed in 2016, resulting in the creation of 110,000 square feet of pedestrian space, a 15% drop in car crashes, and most importantly, a 40% reduction in pedestrian injury. If we look to the future of tactical urbanism, it is likely to involve more sophisticated and integrated approaches to urban design and community involvement. As smart city technology advances, tactical urbanism may include more digital engagement tools. In Times Square, these may be things such as augmented reality for tourism guides, or targeted advertising on Times Square's infamous billboards. Unlike the current mass advertising that aims at a broad audience, targeted advertising, like we see online, will focus on those individuals who are most likely to be interested in the product or service. This will play out as an interesting dynamic on the current advertising charges for Times Square, which are currently as much as $50,000 a day. Let us know in the comments below if you visited Times Square both before and after its tactical urban transformation and how much of a success you feel it's been. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and join us again as we look to explore more examples of how tactical urbanism has transformed the way people live. Please explore some more videos from the channel, which we think you'll like, such as why a region of the west coast of the US is empty compared to its north and south populations, or why some of the biggest cities in America in terms of land mass have such low population densities. If none of these float your boat, then I guess we've tried our best to keep YouTube's algorithm happy, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next tactical urbanization video in the series.